Good morning, friends, and welcome to Immigration Hub, a place where we talk about immigration matters. And in this series, we are focusing on Canada immigration. My name is Kuro Mendy, and as usual, I'll be going over the immigration process or do it yourself guide to coming to Canada. Just before I forget, in case you have not subscribed, please go ahead and click the subscribe button. Share this video with friends and make your comments below these videos. And feel free to have any questions you have posted in the comment section, and I'll be quick to answer them. And as part of this program, if there is anyone that is considering starting this immigration process, we can also provide guidance for free and help answer questions throughout the entire process. So like I said in my last video, in this video I'll be going about the eligibility check, how to check if you're eligible for the express entry system. And in order to do that, I will be using the official government website for immigration, which is cic.gc.ca, and I'll select English as my language of choice, and then go to this menu drop down and hover over immigration and citizenship, and then select immigrate. This will bring me to this page that shows all the different immigration pathways to Canada, and we are focusing right now on the express entry system. So I'll select express entry, and then once I select how the express entry works, I'll see the different pathways under express entry. And the first step is to check eligibility. So in order to do that, we're going to answer a few questions. So if I click on this button, it brings me to this page, and these questions are centered around nationality, age, language ability, family members, education, work experience, and details of any job offer if you have in Canada. And once you click this check your eligibility button, the questions will start. So first question, if you don't know yet, choose the province or territory you are most interested in. Canada, like every other country, has provinces, but other countries call it states. So if in your home country they call it states, it's the same thing as provinces. We have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, about 10 provinces and 3 territories. So for simplicity, I'll select Alberta, and then I click next. It's going to ask me, you need to submit language test results for all programs under Express Entry, even if English or French is your first language. Which language test did you take for your first official language? So, like I said, I'll be using a fictitious persona for this analysis, and I'll just select English IELTS. So they have different tests for English. So for this, I'll select IELTS, and then I'll click next. And then what date did you take your test? So I know that for you to be eligible, your language test has to be less than 2 years old. So I'll just pick a fictitious date that's within the last couple months. So I'll select 2022, I'll select February and 18th. All these are just fictitious numbers. And next, it will ask me for test scores. To simplify this again, I'll just put 7 all through. Based on your ability, so my recommendation is before you spend money writing English language test or doing credential evaluation, that you do this first, and then you look at what scores you think you can get and see if that makes you eligible. You can be a bit not too optimistic, so that if you score higher, then it's better for you. So I'll just put 7 all through. 7, 7, 7, and 7, and then I'll say next. Just before I go to next, one point that I need to make is that for the express entry, in order for you to be eligible to enter the express entry pool, your English language score of the Canadian language benchmark, which is, so all these different tests, they all are different references for language testing. The Canadian government uses the Canadian language benchmark, and you can convert from one test score to the Canadian language benchmark reference. So for you to be eligible to enter the express entry pool, your CLB, which is Canada language benchmark score, has to be a minimum of 7. So minimum of 7 of CLB is, I think, equivalent to the IELTS of 6.5. However, if your IELTS, any of your scores of the different 4 sections, if any of them is less than 6.5, the express entry system will not let you, because that particular section is lower than the CLB requirement, which is CLB of 7. Remember again, CLB of 7 is equivalent to IELTS of 6.5. So if any of your IELTS scores is less than 6.5, you will not be eligible to create your express entry profile. So all your IELTS scores has to be a minimum of 6.5 and above. That way the CLB equivalent will be a minimum of 7 and above. So going further, you would see, do you have other language results? Which language test did you take for your second official language? So if you have French speaking ability, or you want to take the French language exam, you can take that. Depending on your score, it could give you some extra points. Remember, the whole express entry system is a point-based system. So what you're trying to do is everything you can do to accumulate more points. The higher the points you get, the better your chances of being selected or being invited to apply. So I would say, for this case, I would say none, and then move to next. Find out if you're eligible to apply. In the last 3 years, how many years of skilled work experience do you have in Canada? It must have been full-time or an equivalent amount in part-time. If you don't have any experience in Canada, you say none. If you have work experience in Canada, legitimate work experience, you put it there. During this period, which national occupation classification level is most of the experience in? So because I've said none, I would also say none here. And then next. Say in the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience do you have? So this is work experience that you've had outside of Canada. It must have been continuous, paid, full-time, or an equivalent amount in part-time, and in only one occupation. So if you have different work experiences from different occupations, you look for the most relevant one and the one that has the most valid experience, or the most number of years, so that you get most points from it. So in this case, I would say 6 or more years of experience for just my fictitious persona. And then if you're not sure, so now they're asking, in the last 5 years, do you have at least 2 years of experience in one of these types of jobs? These are skilled trades. So remember, the express entry has 3 pathways. You have the Canadian experience class, you have the federal skilled worker program, and you have the skills trades program. So this question, if you answer this question yes, it's going to make you eligible for the skills trade pathway. So you see, you have industrial, electrical, and construction trades, maintenance and equipment operation trades, supervisors and technical jobs, processing. You can see all that list there. So for this, I would say none. And if you're not sure of the NOC for your job, you can find it on the NOC page. You click on this link, it will show you the NOC page, and then you can type your job title. It will tell you what NOC your job falls into. So I'll just say none in order to move on and simplify this. Next. How much money in Canadian dollars will you bring to Canada? So this question is also another qualifying factor, because in order to be eligible for the express entry, you need to be able to have sufficient funds to take care of you and your family for like the first 3 months you will come into Canada. And there is a link. In fact, every time I look for a link, I just go to the official CIC page, cic.gc.ca, and then I search from there. So when I come here and I select English, I go to this top right search button here, and I type finances. It will tell me, I will be able to see one of the link that shows me how much money one needs to bring depending on how many family members are coming. Let me see. Okay, I didn't see it there. Let me use another keyword to search. Required funds. Let me use required funds as the keyword to see what comes out. So see this proof of funds, skilled immigrants, express entry, that's where you go. And then you see how much money you'll need. So depending on the number of family members you have, as you see here, number of family members, one, that's including yourself. So if you're coming alone, you need to show at least 13,310. Two people, like this. So for this, I'll just assume that we are three people, husband, wife, and a kid, and I'll say three people. So I need to show a minimum of $20,371. So when I get to this question that says, how much money in Canadian dollars will you bring to Canada? I need to select something more than this. So between 2371 and 24. So that's my bracket. I need to make sure that I have that amount of funds available. And how many family members do you have? So because I've chosen three for this case, and then I click next. Do you have a valid job offer in Canada? For this case, I would say no, because this is going to tell you if you, this is going to help you get more points in the express entry. So if you said yes, if you had a job offer, then you would say yes. Next. What is your date of birth? So I'll just use fictitious date of birth, something that will put me over 18 years. So I'll say 2000 January 1st. If you did not earn it, what is the highest level of education for which you have earned a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate, or have had an educational credential assessment? So if you had a Canadian degree, then you don't need this credential evaluation or credential assessment. So, or if you don't have a Canadian degree, if you studied back home, then you have to have done the educational credential assessment. So if you did not earn a Canadian degree, diploma, degree, you may need to have your foreign education assessed by an agency approved by Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada. They must show that it is valid and equal to a completed Canadian credential. Then you select, so for this case I'll say master's degree, and then I say next. Find out if you're eligible to apply. So check all that apply. I have studied full-time in Canada for 2 years or more. No. I have at least 2 years of full-time work experience in Canada. No. I have a relative in Canada who is 18 years or older, a citizen or permanent resident of Canada, and is my parent, child, grandparent, grandchild, sibling, aunt, uncle, niece, or nephew. I would say no. So I'll say none of the above. And then I click next. What is your marital status? Because I've selected 3, I would say married. Next. Find, does your spouse or partner plan to come with you to Canada? Yes. Is your spouse or partner a citizen or permanent? No. Next. Has your spouse or partner studied in Canada full-time for 2 years or more? No. In this case, these are just fictitious answers. Has your spouse or partner worked in Canada full-time for 1 year or more? I will answer no as well. Answering yes to these questions gives you more points, but if you don't have them, then you don't have them. So I'm just showing the case of somebody that doesn't have them, and I click next. Has your spouse or partner taken an English or French language test? It helps for your partner to take this language exam because you get some points from it. So I would say yes, and I would say IELTS. Next. What date did they take the test? I'll put the same date, 2022, February 18. Next. And then I'll give them 6 as their scores, just for simplicity. All round 6. And then I'll click next. It's still processing. Okay, so now it's showing the result. It's in down under express entry. Based on your answers, you appear to be eligible for express entry, and to apply online you will need this personal reference code. blah blah this number, and step 1, step 2. It just highlights, indicates the different steps to follow, and you can save this page for yourself when you get to that point. But this shows how you check to be eligible. Now the next step is to show you if you're eligible and you submit your express entry profile, you're going to go into an express entry pool. So you want to know in advance what kind of score would you be going into the express entry pool with, so that then you can know whether you have a good chance, or if you don't have a good chance, then you start exploring what other options you have in order to improve your chances. So I will be showing that as well now, and I'll go back again to my Anchor website, which is www.cic.gc.ca. That's the anchor point where we take everything from. So I'll go to English, go back to this menu, hover over this immigration and citizenship and click on immigrate, express entry, how the express entry works, and then so we just did step 1, find out if you're eligible, and then step 2 is to check your score. If you're eligible for one or more of the express entry programs and submit your profile, you'll be ranked in the express entry pool using the comprehensive ranking system. The CRS is a point-based system we use to assess and score your profile and rank it in the express entry pool. So use the CRS tool to estimate your score. So you click on this button, and then it brings you here. It still uses the same set of questions to decide if you what your score will be. So the first question is, what is your marital status? The same fictitious persona is what I'm going to use. Say married. Next question, is your spouse or common law partner a citizen or permanent resident of Canada? No. Will your spouse or common law partner come with you to Canada? Yes. How old are you? So I used 2020 January 1st, so we're in 2022, so that's 22 years old. So 22 years of age. What is your level of education? I selected master's degree. Have you earned a Canadian degree, diploma or certificate? I would select no. Official languages. Canada's official languages are English and French. Are your test results less than 2 years old? Yes. Which language test did you take for your first official language? IELTS. Enter your test scores. Remember we chose 7, 7, 7, and 7. Do you have other language results? No. Work experience. In the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada do you have? None. So we say none. In the last 10 years, how many years, total years of foreign skilled work experience do you have? We said 6 or more in the first place, so it's going to be 3 or more. Do you have a certificate of qualification from a Canadian province, territory, or federal body? I would say no. Additional points. Do you have a valid job offer supported by a labor market impact assessment? I would still say no. Do you have a nomination certificate from a province or territory? I would say no. Do you or your spouse or common law partner, if they will come with you to Canada, have at least one brother or sister living in Canada who is a citizen or permanent resident? I would say no. What is the highest level of education for which your spouse or common law partner has? I would say bachelor's degree. In the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada does your spouse or common law partner have? I would say none. Did your spouse or common law partner take a language test? If so, which one? I would say yes, and IELTS yes. Enter the scores. So we selected 6 before. 6, 6, 6, 6. Now calculate your score. Now this shows your breakdown, the breakdown of your scores: age, level of education, official language, Canadian work experience, blah 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 blah. Summary: total comprehensive ranking system formula grand total 399 points. So now with 399 points, what does that mean to you? What does that mean for us? Um, we don't know. For the express entry system, the maximum points that somebody can get is 1,200, 1,200. So with 399, the next step that I want to take is to look at the previous invitations, because they do express entry draws from time to time. So I want to search previous invitations that they've sent to people and see what scores they've been sending out, or what's the lowest scores they've been inviting. So I go on again. I can do with Google on this one. So I'll just search on Google, but I have to know which page I'm opening. So I'll type previous rounds of invitations, or previous rounds of express entry invitations. Previous rounds of express entry invitations. So many results will come out, but I'm looking for the results that are tied to the Canadian government, like you see the www.canada.ca. That's the official Canadian government website as well. But you see something like canadavisa.com, it's an agent website. So you go there, you might find the result you're looking for there, but they will be trying to lure you to sign up with them and then try to maybe use them as your agent for doing this. I'm sure certainly that you can do this by yourself. I did it myself, so you can do it. So um, let's use the first one, which is canada.ca, express entry rounds of invitations. So we'll see the previous express entry rounds. Let me see. It's been a while I came to this website, so I may not be very familiar with the website, but let's see. So Ministerial instruction respecting invitations to apply for permanent residence under the express entry system, number 224, June 8th. So this is the last one that was done 8th of June, like 2 days ago. Yeah, June 8th, 2022. So provincial nominee. So the people they selected, this particular draw, they focused on people that had provincial nominations. So number of invitations they issued 932 invitations, and the CRS score of lowest ranked candidate that was invited was 796. And for a while now, because of COVID and backlog in their processing, they have limited the number of people they are inviting, and also have limited number of programs that they are inviting at one time. Let me see if I can see previous ones, like different past months or years. Let's see. Let me look for somewhere to get that. Let me go back. Express entry year and express entry year, express entry year and express entry, and all these are express entry. Find out more about this. No. See previous rounds. Okay. Aha, this is the page that we're looking for. So June 8th, the lowest score they invited was 796. May 25th, they invited 741. May 11th, so you see, it looks like every 2 weeks. May 11th, they invited 750. They invited 545 people, but the lowest score was 753. April. So if you look at the lowest scores that they've been inviting, from 404 was the lowest, but that's way back 2001 or 2021, sorry, and that was for focused on the Canadian experience class. If you look at, like, going back to 2021, they've only focused on Canadian experience class, provincial nominee, just these two because of COVID, like I said. If you go to, like, second page, you see that's what they focused on all through of 2020. In fact, let's go like page 5, and no program specified, so they just focused on everybody. This was 2019. So, and the lowest score they invited was 457. So, and they invited 3,600 people. Then they were inviting about 3,000 people each time they did the non-program specific draws. So this gives you an idea. There was one time they did federal skill trade and they took 284. All of this is to give you an idea of what's your 399 score, what does it look like. So with 399, you've seen that even in the past, when they used to invite the entire programs, your score was still not sufficient. And today, I know that very soon they will go back to non-program specific. I think they said in July they will start doing the full draws for all programs. So hopefully the scores will be lower because they will start inviting more and more people. But even at that, with 399, you still have to do something to improve your score. So now we go back to the comprehensive ranking system and see what can we do to improve our scores. So let's look at the different questions, because it's all based on the answers you provide in these questions, or to these questions, that will determine the scores you have. Now we have 399 based on what we have answered so far. So let's try and tweak these questions a bit and see how that affects the results, or how that affects our scores. So let's say we write the English language exam, and instead of 7, we start having 7.5. So here will be this, here we'll get to this, here we're here we get to this. Let's just that alone. Let's see what the score becomes. Calculate your score. It becomes 411. You see how that added to the score. Let's say we bring the score back to 7, and then we change something else. You had 7, and then they said, do you have other language results? And you said yes, you have the test of French, the French exam. And then one second, why is it not showing me scores? Why is this not showing scores? Anyway, let's but the main point is, if you took the French exam and you had scores, then that will give you some extra points as well. But let's skip that since it's not working for now. Let's say you have work experience in Canada in the last 10 years. How many? Let's say you have 2 years of work experience in Canada, 2 years, and you go back and say calculate your scores. That moved the score from 399 to 495. That gave you almost 100 points. Like, if you see, where is that? Um, foreign work experience, no? Where is that? Official language. Canadian work experience, you got 46 points. And so that changed your entire score from 399 to 495. So let's go back and remove that work experience. I'm going somewhere, just bear with me. So I say none. Then we go, do you have a certificate of qualification from a Canadian province? If you do, if you say yes, and you come back and say calculate your score, you see your score is 449. It gave you 50 points. But I'm just showing you the different, how each answer you change gives you points. Each answer each area that you are able to answer yes to, how it gives you some more points. So I'll change this back to no, and then we go to we've done job offer, but we did job work experience. Now this is job offer. So if you're able to get a job offer from an employer, which NOC skill type? So let's say NOC skill type A. Do you have a nomination? Okay. So now let's assume that you got a job offer from an employer. How does that change your score? 449, it gives you extra 50 points. If you, where is that place? Okay, we say, but we change it back to no. Do you have a nomination certificate from a province or territory? So this is provincial nomination. This is a process whereby a province, like a state, gives you nomination to say you can come and live in that state. If you answered yes, let's see what the score will be. Calculate your score. It increases your point to 999. That is additional 600 points. That is a massive game changer, and that's going to be the next pathway we're going to be visiting, because once you get that nomination, it's a game changer for you. Let's go back and change that to no. Where is that place? Yeah, we say no. Do you or your spouse, or common law partner have at least one brother or sister? Let's say you have a brother or sister or a relative which falls in one of these categories, and then you say yes, that would give you, I think, 15 points extra. Calculate your scores. So from 399, yeah, 414, you got 15 points extra. And then if you change this back to no, highest level of education, if your highest level of education changes, this is your spouse. Let's say yours changes even. If your spouse has a master's degree, let's see if that changes anything. Calculate your score. That gave you some point, 2 points only though. But let's say it was you that instead of a master's degree you had a PhD. Sorry, we'll take this one back to bachelor's, and then we go to you. Instead of master's degree, you say doctoral level, and then you come here and you say calculate your points, your score. 413. That gave you 14 points, not so much. If you, what's left? Let's change this back first to masters, and then we were here. Let's say your spouse scored 7777. I don't think that would change so much as well. Calculate your score. That gave you only 6 points. But the idea of this is for you to see that every time you change something in this CRS questionnaire, your score changes. So the game is to come back and look at all of this and see, okay, where can you change something? And like we saw in the analysis, once you are able to affect the like the provincial nominee question, if you can change that from a no to a yes, that gives you 600 points. That gives you one half of the entire points that the comprehensive ranking system can get, that someone can get from the comprehensive ranking system. You get one half of it by getting provincial nomination. In my next video, I will focus on the provincial nomination alone, and then we can dive into it to see how we can get this 600 points that is the game changer for everything, irrespective of your age, irrespective of work experience, irrespective of what your English language scores out. Once you get that provincial nomination, that is a game changer. You're certainly almost sure that in the next draw you will be invited. So stay tuned. Click the subscribe button so that you will be one of the first people to get this video as it comes out. Share this video across your friends in all your networks so that your friends that are also looking at doing this immigration stuff themselves will be able to get this information, and they can tap into this wealth of information, and then they will save the money that they would have spent by paying an immigration consultant, not to talk of them falling victim to fake immigration consultants, because you have those as well. So we're sharing all this information for free. And like I said in the beginning of this video, in this series we are also open to listening to anyone that is about to start their immigration program. Send us questions, contact us. We will just give you free guides, on how to go about things. We'll share more information with you on how to go about things. We'll see where you are, to advise on what you need to do if your scores is not up to where you want it to be. Until the next video, I want to say thank you for subscribing and watching my video, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Bye.